Hi, my name is Amy Buckley Ash, and I am an advocate coordinator at Douglas County CASA. I'm going to go over what is required to become a CASA volunteer. There are a number of volunteer requirements. First is our volunteers have to be age 20 or above and submit an application. Applications can be found at our website, bccasa.org. In that application, volunteers have to provide contact information for 4 references, and those 4 references cannot be members of your family. They have to be people who know something about the quality of your work. They also have to participate in a personal interview with the CASA advocate coordinator and then also pass 5 comprehensive background checks. In addition to all of that, if the background checks come and the references are submitted, the volunteer then has to complete 30 hours of training, including in that training are observations of court hearing and of a review of a case by the Citizens Review Board. Just to reiterate what Carolyn said, CASA volunteers are appointed by the court and charged with the job of advocating for the child's best interests. In order to do that, they need to spend time with the child and do some investigation as far as the child's circumstances. That means talking to everyone who's involved in the child's case. That includes case managers, teachers, therapists, foster parents, even biological parents. They monitor the services that are provided to the child and to the family. And at periodic points in the case, they take all that information that they have collected and organize it into monthly reports that they give to their supervisors. And then also at various points in the case, they make written reports for court hearings. Idea is that CASA volunteers stay with the case until it is closed by the court. Obviously, that depends on when CASA volunteer is appointed to a case. Sometimes that happens as a child is coming into the system. Other times it may be that a case has been ongoing and somebody involved in the case expresses our agency that a child needs a CASA volunteer. And when that happens, we try very hard to accommodate those requests. CASA volunteer may start at the beginning of the case, or they may start after a case has already been. Depending on the stage of the case, time commitment can vary. If you're working up to a court hearing, you may be very busy making a court report and talking to the different parties that are involved in a child's case. But what we generally say is that it involves an average of 2 to 3 hours per week or 10 hours a month. And we ask our volunteers to at minimum commit to 1 to 3 years on a case. Our rock bottom minimum requirement is volunteers visit the child at least once a month. Obviously, that has been impacted by current events having to do with the coronavirus. Many of our volunteers now are doing visits virtually or at physically distant manner. They also facilitate communication via email or phone calls or texts with the child and with other parties involved in the case, such as social workers and foster parents. They also have periodic contact with other case professionals that are involved, such as I mentioned before, therapists, teachers, and people like that help support the child. Every month, our volunteers are required to submit monthly reports to their advocate coordinators. Nobody sees those reports except for the advocate coordinator. It's basically our volunteers check in with us on a monthly basis as to what's going on in their case. The commitments of a CASA volunteer also involve attending case meetings, which are held every 6 months, can be held more often than that if case plans change, but our volunteers always have plenty of notice about that. They also have to submit court reports periodically throughout the year. Again, those will, for the most part, volunteers will have plenty of notice about when those court hearings are going to occur and prepare those. Our volunteers are also required to do 6 hours of annual in-service training. We try to make in-service credit easy to do. Our website includes a tab that's dedicated to in-services. Volunteers can attend workshops. They can also pull up webinars that are on our site, read books, all kinds of community events that can qualify. We try to make it easy and interesting for our volunteers to earn their in-service credit.